Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the How to Build series where we're going through every single champion in the game, rare and above, and I'm going to put together kind of a quick reference, quick build guide for newer players to the game, earlier game players who are just looking for a little bit of guidance with a particular champion. I will not be getting into late game builds and strats and masteries and things like that because it gets a little convoluted and it can be a little specific depending on how you want to utilize a particular champion. So, that being said, quick disclaimer, I'm not saying my way's the best way or the only way or that I know better than anybody else. I'm simply just trying to put out some helpful information for people to reference if they want to put a particular champion to use. So let's go ahead and get into it. Get your notepad ready, get ready on that pause and rewind if you need to, and let's get into it and talk about the Heiress. She is a High Elves attack champ. Base stats, base HP is pretty standard for a rare attacker. Base attack is okay, pretty standard. Maybe a little on the lower side, I think, maybe, based on what I've seen. And then her base speed's a little low, but especially for a high elf. I thought generally the elves were going to be a little bit faster, but her base speed's a little on the lower side, but that's fine. I think it's going to be probably because of this passive, which we're going to get to in a second. Her base defense is actually not bad, considering she's a rare attack champion. Her base defense is pretty nice. So base stats are not bad, actually. Base stats are pretty nice, pretty on par, and then she's got a nice little bump in defense for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and talk about her skills. First skill, attacks one enemy, grants an extra turn if the target is killed. Now this is always nice. I mean, if you get her to where she can one-shot somebody, she's basically guaranteed an extra turn every time she uses a skill. She can also be a great cleanup option for arena. Maybe you've got your little comp set up and you do your attack bar boost and your attack buff, and then your nuker hits and gets everybody to low health, and anybody that the nuker doesn't kill, she can come in and kill the one with the lowest health and then get another turn to do whatever wants. She may be able to kind of go through like Relic Keeper does and pick everybody off, or at the very least put in some more damage and or do something else useful. But this is a cool little skill. And you can scale the damage up with skill ups, so pretty neat. I like that. Second skill, removes one random debuff from all allies. Has a 60% chance of placing a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now the AoE single debuff cleanse is nice. I dig that. Generally, I'm not a fan of skills that have a chance of buffing my team. I think either buff my team or don't. I'm generally not a fan of that wording in a skill. With this one, I don't have such a problem with it because it's also a single debuff AoE cleanse. So it's you're getting some pretty decent utility out of it regardless of if she speed buffs. I would really prefer it if she just speed buffed and it wasn't a chance, but I didn't make the game, so nobody asked me when they were writing her skills, so that's the way it is. However, now that I'm looking at the skill ups, you can get it up to 100% if you skill her up, so fine. They needed something to do with skill ups here. I guess that's the way they went with it. So it can turn into a guaranteed speed buff. So fine, I'm down with that. That's perfectly okay. Her passive counterattacks the attacker when an ally is attacked. Now this is pretty cool, and this can get really annoying because again, every time somebody on your team gets hit, she's going to come in and attack whoever the attacker was. Now, what I have to assume is that if this passive triggers, she's going to attack with her default skill, obviously. If she gets a kill, it stands to reason she would get another turn, which makes her very interesting. I can't imagine why they'd have built her the way they built her if that was not going to be the case. So I have to assume if this passive procs and she kills whoever she ends up hitting, that it then becomes her turn again. That only makes sense to me, which makes her a lot of fun and pretty useful. Not so much in boss fights, so I don't know about taking her into dungeons, which is interesting because her aura is specifically for dungeons. The cleanse will be nice in dungeons. The counterattack to the boss will be nice, but it won't be proccing the extra turn. So maybe that's why they did this. Maybe they set her up in a way where she can keep peppering in damage to the boss every time the boss hits somebody on your team. I don't know. That's it's very interesting. She's got a very unique little setup here. So I think she would be useful in campaign. I think she could be useful in arena. She could be particularly useful in arena, I would imagine. As like a cleanup, as I said, after your nuker. And she's going to be very annoying to deal with as people are attacking your team if they don't focus her first. Because again, if they're low health, if they survive your first wave of attacks and they attack anybody but her, and she counterattacks and kills them, she may just get her turn back. You know what I mean? So she could be quite annoying on arena, offense or defense. I think she'd be decent in the campaign. Not clan boss. Not really so much clan. Even though she does counterattack, the clan boss doesn't really go attack that often. Wouldn't be worth what you'd be sacrificing in her spot. So I think more arena and campaign. And then again, in dungeons, she's got some utility in the dungeons because she's got the cleanse. She can keep some of the debuffs off that some of the dungeons are putting on you. And again, she's going to pepper damage in as the bosses or the some of the bosses' minions hit you or whatever. But yeah, she's fun. She's cool. She's unique. I don't see a lot of characters, a lot of champions like this in the game. So I don't think she's going to be amazing anywhere. But she does look fun. She looks unique. She looks like a way to break the normalcy of the general outline of your teams and your compositions and the way that you're going to be playing this game. She looks like a fun, interesting way to mix that up a little bit. So let's talk about artifacts. I think probably just the standard attack build on her, double attack and speed very early on. And really early on, you're going to go attack percentage on the gloves, attack percentage on the armor, speed on the boots. And then as you begin to get your hands on more, yeah, she has no debuffs. As you begin to get your hands on some nicer artifacts, you can expand a little bit and go crit rate percentage on the gloves, attack percentage on the armor, speed on the boots. And then the stats you're going to want to focus on her are earlier game, just attack and speed will be fine. And then as you push through and are able to upgrade some of these artifacts and be a little bit more adventurous with your sets, start to incorporate crit rate and crit damage in there as well. So attack, speed, crit rate, crit damage are the stats you want to focus on her. And yeah, fun. I'd say my overall rating for her is probably, for the things you'll be using her for, I mean, we'll give her like a high 5. I'd say with the AoE single debuff cleanse and the speed buff, that's going to be pretty nice. So maybe let's just go 6. Let's give her a 6. I think the passive is fun and interesting, and then the potential to get the extra turns off the passive makes her pretty useful. But again, it's got to be very specific, or you've got to have her geared up for so much damage that she can just one-shot. So yeah, I think a 6 is a pretty reasonable setup for her, or a pretty reasonable rating for her for what you're going to be using her for. I'd say she's still a little above average, not blowing me away, but certainly has her uses, I would say. So I think that'll wrap it up for her. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. If you're using her and you think she's better or worse than I said, or you're using her for some things I didn't mention or maybe I didn't think about, I'll drop that in the comments as well. I'm open to more information, and really that's what we want, is just for everybody to have the information to best utilize whatever champions it is that they want to utilize. So that's it. I hope it was helpful. I appreciate you watching. If you want to try to catch me live on Twitch, I stream every weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/JGigs. Other than that, if this was not your champion is on the way. If they're not already uploaded, I'm going through every single one in the game. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.